Thank you for stopping my channel. Today I'm gonna show you how to make this earring. I have to admit that I've been trying to learn how to make jewelry with resins. Unfortunately, I fail so much. I fail multiple times and I just skip throwing away and throw it away. I think I'm more comfortable with beads and seed beads, but this is a combination of seed beads and a little bit of resins because, like I said, I'm not there yet. One day, hopefully, I will be able to know how to use the resins, but in the meantime, this is where I start. And if you want to know how to make this earring, keep watching. Material here are just the resins part, which is this part. So you do need a UV light, and this is a what do you call torch. Is almost like a torch where it gets rid of bubbles of resins, and this is the UV resins because I'm using UV light, and some filling gold. This is it's like a tape to keep your area clean. This is the flowers. It's a brush. If you don't have, you can use a toothpick, and this is something to drill your resins. So that's the first part. Let's move to the second materials. Okay, so the second material, which is this section here. So yes, you will need some kind of needles for your beading, and I'm using green Miyuki threading beads. I use all Miyuki size 11, so red here, black and yellow, and then Bungle beads, which is this part. I'm using turquoise Bungle beads, and then at the end I'm using this 3 millimeters round gold beads, and then of course this triangle, that mirror, that part triangle, and then the earring hooks right there, and some useful tools. And what else? I think that's it, and let's get started. Okay, so I'm gonna cut about 50 inches of thread. I mean, you can cut 60 inches, but 50 should be enough. And this is actually, I forgot to mention, and this is optional. This is wax. It just helps your thread, not tangle while you're working with beads. So you just run it a couple of times. If you don't have it, don't worry. So I'll just run twice. So we'll go one this way. Like again, it helps with when you work with seed bead, doesn't tangle that much. So that's pretty much it. I'm doing twice, and there's this, insert your thread into your needles, and give yourself, doesn't matter, whatever you're comfortable with. And then you're just gonna pick up your triangle, and you pick at the end, and give yourself about I want to say about 1 foot tail, or maybe 10 inches, and just tie a knot twice. So it's one right there, and then one more. So basically the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do the it's called brick stitch techniques. Then I'm grabbing 2 seed beads, bring them all the way down to the edge, and then you take your needles, you go over in the bottom of your triangle, and then you pick that second bead, which is the one that closer to your needles, and you just go back up like that, and then just pull your thread slowly. So yeah, so you would have 2 like sitting on top of that, so you have to carefully pull it. And the next thing, you pick up 1 seed bead, So you bring all the way down, and then you go under, and then you go back that inside of that last seed bead, and you pull slowly, so now it sits next to the other one. Okay, and you're going to do the same thing. Pick one seed bead, go under, and then go back inside of that seed bead. Just repeat the same like you did earlier. So you're just trying to make these goes across. So I'm gonna have about 9 pieces. So once I get to 9 pieces, and I'll show you what's the next step. Okay, so now I have 9 pieces. The next step is I'm still continue with the thread. So now the next step is I'm going to pick 5 pieces of black seed beads, 3 yellow, 1 bungle bead, and 1 gold round bead at the end, and I bring it all the way to let it sit, and then I'll skip. I'm going back to this, but I'm skipping the gold, and I'm going back to that bungle bead, 3 yellow, and then black one, and back to that first red. Pull your thread, but don't tie it because you want it to kind of like, you know, hang loose a little bit, and then you go into the next. So you go back to that next red beads, okay, and then pull slowly, and but again, don't tie it too much. And the next step, because I'm just gonna increase by 5, so the next I'm gonna pick 10 pieces of black seed bead. Everything stays the same. And then again, I skip this gold one and go back to all those beads again. Once you get to that end, again you go back to that red seed bead, and then now you move to the next one. Okay, and the next step, you take 15 seed beads, black seed beads. Like again, you just increase 5 at a time. Again, you skip the gold one and go back to all these seed beads, bungle beads, and all these seed beads. Okay, next is 20 black seed beads. The same thing, skip the gold one and go back to all these beads. So one thing I should say, that make sure when you go back, make sure you go all the beads. If you skip one for some reason, accidentally skip one, you have to take all apart and do it all over again. So make sure that you double check before you pull your thread. So this is row number 5, which is the middle piece. So it's gonna be 25 black seed beads, and then 3 yellow, and then 1 bungle, the same. Now, so we just finished the 5th one, so we want to go backward. So it was 25 black beads. So the next one, which is the next 4, you want to go opposite. So you want to decrease 20, 15, 10, and 5. So you just kind of repeat, but going back this way. Okay, 20 seed beads, black seed beads, 15 black seed beads, 3 yellow, 1 bungle, and 1 gold, 10 black, 5 black seed beads. This is our last row. Okay, so this is our last row. So you're just gonna grab those threads, and again we're gonna make a knot here, and make sure you don't tie too tight, because you want your beads to kind of float, not too like stiff. So then you go back to a couple more row over here and just pull a little bit so you can hide that knot. And I'm gonna go back one more time over here, and I'm just kind of hiding my threads. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect because we're gonna use resins anyway, so don't worry about, I said just, you know, tie it one time should be enough. So once you get there, you can just use your scissors and just trim it. Be careful not to cut the other one. And now you take the tail and you do the same thing. You go back a few times over the red seed bead, just because you don't want to cut too close to the knot that you just tie them together. So, you know, just go back a couple times, should be okay. So now I'm gonna cut it again. I think it looks pretty good right here. If you are not going to use resins, I should say you should go back this way and tie the knot one more time, and then go, you know, either ways, and then cut your thread. That way you have one knot over here and then one knot somewhere in the middle, and that way it's more secure. And then you just have your earring hooks and just, you know, put it right there, and I think that looks perfectly fine. But here I'm going to finish with resin, so let's start to our resin part. I'm gonna take a roll of that I like this tape because it's, you know, you don't need a lot, you just need a little, and just cut it and let it sit, you know, like that. And then you take your that finished piece that you just made. The so important part is that you want to make sure this is sticky, so you want to make sure that you kind of, like I use this one, just kind of press it, make sure it sit pretty tight, because you don't want resin accidentally leak out. It might leak out a little bit, but that's okay. So then you take these and you just pour right into that triangle. Just enough, you know, it doesn't have to be a lot because we're gonna work layers by layers. So here you can use toothpicks and just kind of like fill it. Make sure you get all the bubbles. I think I got all the bubbles pretty good. It doesn't hurt to use this one and kind of go over a little bit. Then we'll do like 90 seconds. Now we're gonna work second layer, so you're gonna need this filling, this gold filling, and flowers. Here I use yellow. So in the meantime, I clean my brush because I learned. So I use acetone and I dip a little bit tip of the brush and just, you know, wipe it with paper towels. Let's hope. So I want to see how it looks, so you can peel it, and you know, there you go. If you think it needs, still feel taggy, you can let it sit for like another 60 seconds. But mine's pretty dry. So now I'm gonna use this drill part, and I'm just gonna drill right there. Alright friends, these are the finished pieces. Do you like these videos? Feel free to share with your friends. And once again, thank you for watching, and until next time, I'll see you next video.